Anyway, yeah, just plugging along here, and we are just about 3/4 done. Once again, just throwing it out there, if any of you have suggestions for cities, city ideas, please feel free to leave them in the chat, because I am open to stuff. And you will be the happy beneficiaries of stuff creation. Oops. There we go. Little residential zones snug in there are not going to be a problem, I think. Although it is fun to talk about topics of big world importance, like, I've not tried to go into anything too hefty, just because I don't want to touch on topics that I feel deserve a bigger, more thought out thing. Because, keep in mind, the stuff that I've been talking about so far is all, to me, it's like lightweight stuff. It's like child's play, you could say. Because I can get into the nitty-gritty and into the hefty stuff, but that is something I don't want to do until I can really sit down and think it through. Reminds me, there have been times where I thought about making a political channel. Well, it wouldn't be so much political commentary as sort of just social commentary on, present day life and all it entails. But I've just been too lazy, and are we running out of power? I mean, I have zoned a lot of zones. No, we haven't. It's just a glitch. Oh man. But it would be kind of cool if I did. At some point, at the very least, what I should do is sit down and write out a series of, if I was to do a political channel, what would I put on it, and create a list of topics. I think that's a good place to start. Because politics is fun. It's especially fun when you are not a sensitive ninny who is going to be offended at everything, and I'm just going to sit back and say, and also there is a certain degree of stubbornness. I mean, it is good to be open to new ideas and new thoughts, but when you do a political thing, you have to be ready for hundreds of people to be like, you're wrong. In which case, I have to be, no I'm not, you silly people. I just have to, be really, really confident, and why do you have no power? OMG. Is it because you're so far from the edge that the power doesn't snake around that far? I don't know. But we are going to do this from the other side too. Near our fire department landing strip. We already have our one road here. Yes. Oh man, so it was very, very fun to get that little boost in viewers for that one night. And I really do hope he gets my thank you note, or, opens up his YouTube things, because we really do appreciate it. over there. Just a small little channel like Boat Canoe. As I've said before, you might see that I have 3 to 4,000 subscribers, but I only get as many daily views on my video as I did, say, when I had 300 subscribers. So I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel like I have 3,000 subscribers, which is not to say that you guys aren't awesome for subbing or anything like that. In fact, those of you watching are the most awesome of them all. I do kind of feel that a lot of them were here for Sims and not for anything else, so that's one reason for the viewership decline. But who knows? That problem might be rendered moot very soon. Had a little cough there. Yeah. There's something stuck in my throat. There we go. We are going to put this all down. Put it all down. Now this has been the farming series. So this has been, depending on how long this session turns out to be and how many parts it's divided into, this could be a solid 4 or 5 episodes of farming. So I hope you guys like being down on the farm. I kind of feel bad because in one episode, I think back when I was doing Bartolino, I had said something like, "Oh, this is too complicated for this here Iowa farm boy." And then this one guy in the chat's like, "OMG, you're from Iowa, me too." And I'm like, and I felt really bad because, like, I'm not from Iowa, and I just it's just sort of a go-to phrase I've used in the past, and decided to bring it out that one time, and I got some guy's hopes unfairly raised because he thought I was from Iowa. Nope. Sorry guy. I'm originally from Illinois, but I'm a Philly guy. Yeah. Sorry about that, bro. Oh well. Sometimes when you say non sequiturs, you accidentally say something that is a sequitur, I guess. If that's the right way to say it. Which probably isn't, but we don't let such things deter us, like logic and reason over here. Except when I'm talking about going on my little rants. Then everything is very logical and very reasonable. And if you disagree, you are a communist. You're with us or you're with the terrorists, etc. Lol. But yeah, just give me topics to rant about, folks. Then there's always people who are like, don't rant about anything, just play the game. Well, yeah, I mean, we're all here for SimCity after all, but like, after a while, doesn't it just sort of become doing the same thing for 200 episodes? I mean, if I'm not talking about something different in some of those episodes, it's almost like we're all insane and we're all watching the same thing and I'm doing the same thing over and over, which I'm not really, because I'm building a low-density city. I'm going to be building other concept cities, but it could be said. It's kind of funny because when I was at like 75 episodes, I was actually thinking to myself, okay, maybe I should stop doing this. I've probably done everything I could. Well, I'm up to 230-ish, and I'm still doing things, so I guess it really is a testament to the longevity of the SimCity brand, that you can buy this game can come out in 2003, I can buy it in 2007, and I can still be playing it in 2013, finding things to do with it. I mean, this really is a classic, you could say, a modern day classic. And I don't care what you say, to me it's still a new game. I don't care if it came out, how many years ago was that? 10 years ago? That's long. Actually, that's pretty long. To me, anything that came out after 2000 is still pretty new in my book. Even though, yeah. You know what I kind of wonder about sometimes? You know how, like, nostalgia works? When I was, because right now the big thing is 80s nostalgia and increasingly 90s nostalgia. Now, back in the day, I was thinking, and many other people were thinking, it's like, what from the 90s can possibly be nostalgic, you know? The 90s were lame. Things were just crappy and trashy the whole decade. What could possibly be subject for nostalgia from the 90s? And now it's just like, you know, 90s nostalgia is becoming the new 80s nostalgia. I guess it's inevitable the way that time moves forward and such, but there is precedent to this because, like, 80s nostalgia was huge throughout the 2000s decades. But back in the 90s, when I was a kid, the 80s were sort of seen as a big dork age, like a big dorky time that everyone would rather forget because everything was gaudy and corny, and people were happy to put that behind them. But then, maybe at the very end of the 90s or the beginning of the 2000s, like, 80s nostalgia just became really, really huge and continues to this day. Which I think is pretty funny because back in the 90s we used to have the saying, like, that's so 80s, meaning, like, that's old, that's silly, that's dumb. But now it's like almost like a compliment if you said that to somebody. And now 90s nostalgia is becoming a thing, much to the surprise of my younger self, who is sitting in here next to me with his time machine.
Hi there.
No, not you, Ron Paul. You.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, my younger self is here hanging out with me. But, what am I saying? What I do wonder is, at some point, 2000s nostalgia is going to start. Zeros nostalgia. The knots. Whatever your name for it is. We are going to have nostalgia for it. And it's going to be pretty interesting. Like, I don't even know what it's going to be. But it's inevitable because it happened with the 80s, it happened with the 90s. So it's going to happen with the 2000s. And it's probably going to happen starting at the end of this decade, and especially when we get into the 20s, the new 20s. It's going to happen. But we don't know what it's going to be yet. What it's going to be like. Already things from like the early 2000s are considered nostalgic by many. But pretty soon the whole decade is going to be one nostalgia fest. Wonder how people my age are going to deal with that. Because I know how people in their 40s generally think that 90s stuff was still crappy. And they sort of just like worship their 80s nostalgia. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, we're reaching the end of our session, and I kind of like how this turned out. There's this rim of farms around. I might make certain areas where the farms jut in to the area, but that is not going to be something that we do today. One step further in making our place. Let's see. Agriculture jobs. Yeah, they're making an appearance. So we're doing something right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to inform you that we did not crash one time in this whole thing. And that is something worth celebrating. So join us next time in which we continue to grow these zones. So long everyone.